Joining me now, right at the top of the show, two former Chief Elections Commissioners, O.P. Rawat and S.Y. Quraishi. Join me, S.Y. Quraishi. The Election Commission says, look, we've received 200 notices across parties. We've addressed most of them. But the concern still remains. Is the Election Commission doing enough to ensure a level playing field, or is the government still have a huge advantage when it comes to the way the Election Commission functions?
Well, I saw the press release of the Election Commission with facts and figures, and which clearly showed that the Election Commission has been very prompt in taking action. In fact, it has taken more action against the on the complaints of the opposition, and BJP perhaps may have a cause for complaint. So, prima facie, it seems that the Election Commission is trying to be very transparent, very quick, very prompt. And I have hopes from them seeing this notification.
Okay, so you're seemingly satisfied. O.P. Rawat, do you share Dr. Quraishi's belief that the EC is being proactive, is ensuring a level playing field, is taking cognizance of complaints filed by the opposition as well as the government?
Actually, EC's policy is not to be proactive. In fact, in MCC violation cases, they act only on complaint, and I think I share whatever opinion my senior colleague, Dr. S.Y. Quraishi, have just expressed, that they have done enough, and they have come out with a report of 1 month of MCC enforcement, which speaks everything about it.
No, but it's the contentious issues, Dr. Quraishi. For example, a few days ago, the opposition went and complained saying the Prime Minister likened the Congress manifesto to the Muslim League. And this was an attempt to play up, stoke religious sentiments. The EC stayed away. It seems as if there are some holy cows. The EC is not willing to touch a few individuals. How do you respond to that?
Well, I'm not aware of all these specific cases. I'm basing my opinion on what I've seen in the media, particularly this report, and also the action which they have taken against the West Bengal governor. The fact that they are taking action within 100 minutes or something, and they're acting on opposition's complaints. So that does give hope.
No, but they've taken down, to give you an example, Dr. Quraishi, to give you an example, today Twitter has said that the EC has taken down posts where individuals have questioned the government on electoral bonds. Those posts are being taken down. Now, the charge is that you don't take down hate speech posts, but you take down posts. Why should the Election Commission ask for posts where people are criticizing the government stand on electoral bonds to be taken down?
Yeah, I agree with you, because the criticism of the government, of course, at this point, all opposition parties will be making criticism of the government all the time. So everything should be taken off. So, but in any case, when action is taken in the model code, we must have full facts before us. Since Rawat and I don't have the facts in front of us, so we can't give very specific advice. But generally, you're right. Prima facie, just because the electoral bonds were criticized, those posts were taken off. It does sound questionable.
Okay, the one issue, Mr. Rawat, which is continuously roiling, is that of EVMs. Are we very clear? And the matter is before the Supreme Court at the moment. The court itself has said, why should we be completely disregarding a system which, according to the courts, has worked, that of electronic voting machines? What was it like during ballot paper time? Are you satisfied with that, or do you believe that there is a case to, at least for this one election, ensure 100% counting of the VVPATs or the verified paper trail, just so that everyone knows that this election is, at least in terms of counting, there are no discrepancies?
I don't think that 100% count universally for the whole country will do anything better, because the Election Commission consulted the Indian Statistical Institute, our premier institution, as to how many polling stations VVPAT slips should be counted for the whole country, and they said a sample of 479 will be good enough. Election Commission is already counting VVPAT slips for almost 21,000 polling stations VVPAT. because 5 per polling station, according to the Supreme Court judgment, they are implementing. which is enough. And then there is a provision in the rules that if any candidate or party is dissatisfied in any constituency or with a number of polling stations, they can complain to the returning officer, and returning officer has powers to count 100% VVPAT slips of that constituency or that many polling stations, whichever has been complained upon. So all these provisions are there, and those are sufficient checks.
Dr. Quraishi, do you agree that the way the system is, we don't need to change it? The matter is before the Supreme Court. Several public civil society groups have gone and questioned the need for and believe there should be 100% verified paper trail.
Well, Rajeev, we have to think out of the box, and I have mentioned in several of my presentations and in articles, there is something in between 100% and only 5 per assembly constituency. And what I have been suggesting, you are a cricketer yourself, and most of India is cricket fan. I have been suggesting that instead of counting 100% or even counting 5, I say only count 4, and which are those 4? The 2 runners-up, because they are likely to be affected if there is cheating by the winner. The 2 runners-up should be allowed to put their finger on suspected machines. Now, you go to the third umpire only when you suspect a decision. If randomly 5% decisions are reviewed by the third umpire, you'll get nothing. It's only where you are suspicious. So, if only suspicious machines are counted, which will bring down the numbers, but the credibility will increase. And in fact, somebody suggested one improvement on my suggestion. They said, let every candidate who has not forfeited his deposit, which means 1% of the candidate, instead of 4 machines, maybe 8, 10 machines will be counted. So that will bring in a lot of satisfaction. That is something which should be considered. Okay. In any case, anything that we do has to be done on a pilot basis. At least try it on a pilot basis.
Can I though ask both of you in conclusion, is there a level playing field? Do we accept that this is an election, particularly because of money power, particularly because of media power, where you've got a Ferrari on one side and you've got bicycles on the other? This is a comparison that an author made, that you've got an election where you've got Ferraris on one side versus a bicycle on the other. Do you agree, Mr. Rawat, that this is an election where because of money power, because of media power, it's not a level playing field, yes or no? Should the Election Commission look at it? One party is spending much more than the others, one party has more access to media than the others.
Actually, Election Commission has no locus standi to look at that. Resourcefulness of different parties is not in their domain. They have to provide level playing field whenever somebody approaches to them, that whatever complaints come to them about violations and about disturbing level playing field are dealt with sternly for all sides uniformly.
You know, you're saying that, but the fact, Dr. Quraishi, very simply, we are in the silence period. Between now and Friday, when the first round of polling is there, you're not supposed to openly campaign in those constituencies. But you'll have all the leaders of the country, Mr. Modi, Rahul Gandhi, all the others, Mamata Banerjee, going across their states or the country, campaigning while polling is going on in a neighboring constituency. Are you okay with that? What happened ever to the silent period then?
Quite right. You know, absolutely, Rajiv, this has been a problem which we have been considering for the last 10-15 years, that in this age of electronic media, earlier, we would put a ban that the newspaper will not be circulated in that particular district constituency. But that kind of restriction cannot be placed on electronic media. Therefore, what we need to consider is a basic reform, which I've been suggesting, that the 7 multiple phase election has to be reconsidered now. We used to do it to save lives, but there are 100 other measures we have taken to make elections safe, violence-free. Now, one-day election is the answer, because in social media explosion age, the phased election and prolonged election is creating more problems than it has solved in the past.
You know, you made an important suggestion. We keep talking about one nation, one election that the government. If you're going to have one election, then have it in one phase, rather than stretch it over 7 phases, because that's where the field can get skewed. That's at least an interesting suggestion. I don't know whether that will be implemented, but I sometimes look at my home state of Maharashtra, 48 seats, no history of poll violence, and yet a 5-phase election. Is that a level playing field? We'll leave that question blowing in the wind for now. But for now, O.P. Rawat and Dr. Quraishi for joining me.